Thanks for locking in with 77 Flavors of Chicago. We're your host, Dario.
And I'm Sarah, and I hope you're ready to learn with us.
Hey, today we talking about...
It's a surprise, baby.
All right. How y'all doing this week? That's good. I'm glad y'all doing good. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I feel refreshed. I'm ready for summer. I got my fake tan on.
Yeah, buddy, it's up. Honestly, when Chicago Hands come,
We're out here.
Hey, so update on the bet from last week.
Oh, Dario lost. Can't wait to spend a day at the farmer's market.
I forgot what the bet was. I was saying we was
farmer's
out the
market.
I said we was out the woods, right?
Yeah, with the cold, and then it snowed. No, it snowed 2 days later.
It did snow. That's
Correct.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, but hold on. I'm not trying to sympathize with the bet, but to be fair, that snow was gone by noon.
That's irrelevant. That wasn't the bet.
It was gone by noon. We was walking around downtown.
That wasn't the bet though.
Okay.
The bet was we were out of the woods. Here's the thing. Here's how I know we're not out of the woods yet. Because even though this is overnight, I recognize that when they say frost, they mean overnight, which means it could be warm during the day and cold during the night. But the almanac says the last frost is April 26th, and they know.
Man, that almanac ain't right. Like
it is literally right every single year.
Nope.
People use it. Farmers use it to keep crop. What do you mean? Nope. Like you don't get to decide that it's not right.
No, I mean
the beef's starting early this episode. 2 minutes in?
No, I'm just saying the almanac ain't. I mean, y'all, Farmer's Almanac, I feel like it's different than the regular almanac.
I'm talking about the Farmer's Almanac.
Well, the farmer's gonna be wrong this time.
Nope.
Shit.
So far, they're right.
Yeah.
See, April 27th.
Nah, man.
That's when I'm unpacking my summer clothing.
No, I ain't going.
It does mean overnight frost. So which means
summertime shy is here, baby.
It's not.
I'm tripping. I know I'm tripping.
It is spring officially now, though. So happy spring.
Yeah, happy spring. Yeah. So.
Yeah. If I was walking Campbell around the neighborhood and I was like, I can see little buds, on the trees and the bushes.
Yeah. Yeah.
We getting there.
It was the most nonchalant, like spring that
it was not
debut.
A bit nonchalant. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like we were busy, for one, but like I didn't feel like I didn't even realize it was spring until we was at the Chicago Chef Cooks
event,
and y'all were talking about it. In my head, I was like, "What are they talking about?"
The only reason I know that it's spring is because in Jordan, Mother's Day is the day after spring, so the first day of spring. So the first day of spring is the 20th. Mother's Day is the 21st. So, which I forgot Mother's Day this year. I called my mom at like midnight.
Yeah.
Happy Mother's Day.
I mean, that's hard to do.
But I talk to her every single day. So
yeah, I was about to say y'all be locked in.
We are locked in.
At least 20 times a day.
We are locked in.
Well, y'all be on the phone.
I love my mom.
I don't never talk to my mama like that. I talk let me not say this. let me not get into it on this podcast.
Anyway, it's too personal. It's too personal.
Hey,
let's keep the mirage.
All right, so I will say, let me give y'all a little photography update, y'all. So your boy been in it, like in it. That dog is licking his ass. He was doing it as I said. I've been in it.
Damn.
No, but I've been locked in, and so today, as of this recording, I saw something that in the camera. I heard about it, but I didn't know it was that easy to do. It's super easy to do. I saw a dude
Mind
do
you,
it.
none of us know what this is, and we ain't never gonna be able to see it. But he found it today.
I guess I should say it's a double exposure inside the camera.
That means you put shit on top of shit. So
layer it up
you can
the camera.
Layer things on top of each other.
Not every camera could do that. I didn't know that
cameras could do that. Period.
You're right. I thought that was all post.
It's basically like taking two images and putting them on top of
layering
each other.
it. Yep. Yeah. And making a dope image. So I found that out, y'all. Figured that out, and I was like, okay, cool. But here's the thing.
I wonder what else your camera can do that you haven't learned yet.
I mean, I honestly, I don't even know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even know what I don't know. But I will say, so I'm at a wedding, right? I'm at a wedding photo shoot, and one of my nightmares happened. One of my nightmares that one of my cameras would just stop working. Okay? So I'm doing the photography, flash photography and shit like that. I got everything set up. I'm using the off camera, flash. So I'm trigger flashing. And so I'm doing family shots, y'all. I'm doing the family shots.
At the end of the day.
No. At the end of the ceremony, right before, during cocktail hour. So they had people stay back for cocktail hour. I'm doing that, right? And I get to the last two, a couple, like, I don't know, they were friends of one of them. And then the mom and dad, down to the last two. After I done took like,
this is a dramatic retelling.
30 pictures of different groups. Tell me why the sun had been shining, like beaming so bright. It fried the camera, overheated the camera to the point that the flash stopped. Now, the setup is, during the whole thing, it was hot in there because we were like in a greenhouse effect, right? And, the camera, I'm holding the camera and it's starting to overheat. I see the thing on the screen saying that it's overheating. I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. I ain't thinking nothing of it. Like, this camera is it tells you when it's getting hot. And it gives you a trigger, like a red. If it starts flashing, all right, now you need to turn it off. But it just warns you, hey, look, just to let you know.
A little toasty in here.
Yeah, it's getting a little warm. You can still go. We good. At the same time I saw that, the DJ go, hey, is your stuff okay? My computer just started acting up because of the heat, the sun. I was like, damn, you too? I was like, it is that hot. He was like, yeah, man, just be careful. He said that moments before.
Your shit shut off.
My shit. Like, the camera didn't shut off. The flash on top just wouldn't work no more. So luckily, I'm panicking because I'm like, oh boy, A, this is embarrassing. But they understand it's not me. 2, I'm like, what do I do? Because I need to get the family shots. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I do now?
Well, you have a second camera.
That was my saving grace. that was the saving grace. I was like, oh shit, I do have a second camera.
You can't give out coins in the fuckery in the beginning.
Why not? Who said what?
Because the coins are for the episode.
When the hell did this rule start?
Today.
No, we ain't doing that. I don't like the rule. Anyway, that was my story. That's my story. But yeah, that's me and my saga with my camera this weekend.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. I was scared as hell.
Yeah.
But back to this point shit that you're talking about. We can't get no points out coins before the episode.
The coins are exclusively for the points in the episode.
Well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. what if something dope happened? You know what I mean? Like, I just rewarded you with a coin.
That coin was for you.
No, it wasn't.
That was for me?
Yeah, that was you.
For what?
I forgot what we usually talk about. But it was you.
Okay, I'll take it.
Look at you.
Points allowed.
All right. Anyway. Story time up. You ready to get into this?
I'm ready to get into. I'm really excited.
I'm bringing it back. I don't care what you say.
We haven't heard it in so long.
I know.
I'm okay with it. You
all
can
right,
bring it back.
Bet.
Bring it back. But yes, so I'm actually really excited about today's episode because this morning, so you guys might know this, might not know this. I don't know if I've ever talked about it before, but I love to thrift. I love to vintage shop. I don't like waste personally. If I can find it secondhand, I will buy it secondhand. That's my thing. And I also have a firm belief that things that were made years and years and years and years ago were made better.
Well, everybody believe that.
Yeah. So some people don't. Some people think you need to buy shit new. But I think that things that were made like 50 years ago, like I have a 70-year-old sewing machine that sometimes works better than my new sewing machine. So I just love like saving old stuff.
Love.
Anyway.
Crazy love. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
I'm sorry.
Great. So I thrifted these 2 watches that I really, really liked. They're, just small little watches. And I got them for like $7 each, I think. And then I looked them up. I looked up the serial number or whatever. They're worth like a decent amount of money, like a couple $100s each, a few $100s. So I was like, okay, I need to get them. One, I need to see if they just need batteries changed or if they're actually not working. And I need to, one of them was super tarnished. It was like one of those stretch bands. And it was metal, obviously, but it was one of those like ones that catches all the hair on your arm.
Yeah. Boy, pinch your ass and you be.
And they're pretty old. So like they're the one with the stretchy band, I just did not like the band. It was so tarnished. So I took it to a watch repair shop, which I really love this shop. I love it because I went into it for vintage or antique furniture. It's called Father Time Antiques. That's the name of the place. But what's really cool is that the owner, and this is part of the story, right, of how I stumbled upon this episode. So this owner has, his family has lived in Ravenswood. The his entire life. He's from Chicago. His family grew up here. And when he was young, he was an actor in his 20s. And in order to kind of like side hustle his acting, he once went with a friend to a flea market and kind of saw people selling stuff. So he sold a silver bowl. This is a story that he told me. He sold a silver bowl for like, he bought it for like $2.50. He sold it for $35. And then he saw the person that he sold it to flip it for like $60. And then it was sold 3 or 4 times that same day. The last person bought it for $250.
Damn.
So he started being really interested in the value of things. So like to understand like the metals and like what's and stuff like that. So he started with this friend of his. He started kind of like going to estate sales, buying things, flipping them at the flea market to make extra money. Flexible schedule so he could pursue his acting career, which he did. He made a film, and he showed me still film images of people pictures that someone took on set that he was in the film, right? And then after he did estate sales, he would come across watches and jewelry and stuff like that. So his friend also fixed watches. So he taught him what he knew about watch repair and how to like restore watches and stuff like that. So he started doing that. He started restoring vintage watches and reselling them. And eventually he opened up his shop, which was partly watch repair, partly vintage antique furniture, and a lot of watches, a lot of like wall hanging clocks and pocket watches and wrist watches. Every single kind of clock or watch you could think of is in that store.
Got you.
He would travel all over the world and collect clocks. He has clocks that are like thousands and thousands of dollars and ones that you can buy for like $10. So he has a range of things. And then every year he invites an apprentice from a different country to kind of come and learn and teach and like all of that stuff. So he's like, his daughter works with him in the store. She's currently studying to become a mechanical engineer.
Oh,
and
wow.
So together they've like built this fun little store. And if you have the time and you're like interested in vintagey or antique stuff, check them out. It's a really cool store. This is he doesn't even know that I'm talking about him. So
Right.
but I was like curious about, okay, so how did Chicago ever play a role in like watchmaking? Welcome to my agenda.
You found something, huh?
About Chicago and the history of watchmaking. This is where you play.
Yeah.
We don't have it. But I want to start this episode with a nice little quote from the Chicago Tribune, December of 1873.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Chicago has already taken a commanding role in all branches of manufactures, from the heaviest and bulkiest articles of the finest, from the heaviest and bulkiest articles to the finest and most delicate pieces of mechanism. One of the most valuable and interesting branches of industry that has ever been started here is one but little known, except to those interested in it or to the residents in its vicinity. They were talking about a very specific watchmaker, which the story that I'm going to tell today is going to end us. We're going to end with this watchmaker. So keep this in mind.
Okay.
The Tribune in 1873 wrote about this watchmaker as kind of like the top tier of quality and kind of originality.
And that's crazy to think about. 1873.
1873.
We 2 years removed
Yes.
from
correct.
we still rebuild it.
Correct. So now let's paint the scene. We are at the kind of in like 30 years into Chicago existing. There's a lot of Chicagoland area, right? Of course, at this time, it was not called Chicagoland area just yet.
Yep.
But it will be soon.
Wasn't even annexed. Nothing was annexed yet.
Right. But wasn't it McCormick that said Chicagoland area? But in a few years, it has not happened yet.
Yeah.
Watchmaking in general was obviously huge in the east and the west of the world. The first watch to ever be made was believed to be 1505, which kind of read the celestial stars and the movement of the planets to tell time.
There was what kind of watch? It was pocket watch.
It was. It wasn't even a pocket watch. It was like a thing that stood up, and it would
no
like.
pockets.
It would like. No, they did. They did. They were just like things they would tie around their waists and put in on the insides of their clothing, and they're like little satchels that they would wear, and those eventually what became pockets. I actually watched a whole YouTube video about it from this historic costume maker. Anyway, so 1505, but it was one of those things that like it read the time based on the shadow from the sun.
Yep.
Right. That's believed to be the first watch, 1505. So watches have existed for a very long time. It wasn't like the United States invented watches
No.
anyway.
Nope.
Right?
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
But the U.S. did become the largest manufacturer of watches. We're going to spoiler alert it here. But the funny thing is, in 1864, which is what I'm going to credit as like the beginning of the watch industry in Chicagoland, there was no other watchmakers in the area. So mind you, railroads are starting to happen.
Right.
We're starting to get some industrial stuff going on. The city is somewhat growing a little bit at a time, but 1864 is pretty early on. There were no manufacturers making watchmaking parts.
Yeah.
No one was making machinery that would press the little plates of the watch. And at this point, we're not talking wristwatches. These are only exclusively pocket watches.
Right.
And the average person did not own a watch.
Right.
This is not an item that you would buy if you were middle class. Maybe if you were like an upper class person, but a lot of the people that eventually would own watches would be operators of railroads.
Somebody who needed the time.
Right. Railroad operators, basically. That was the largest demographic of people that bought watches. So you see the connection between Chicago being a leader in the railroad
I see where you're going.
and watches.
Let me guess. 1889 has something big to do with it.
Let's
Okay.
wait,
All right.
wait,
Cool.
don't get ahead.
All right. I'm just thinking.
It's juicy. Don't get there.
Okay.
All right, 1864 to 1866, we have the National Watch Company. National Watch Company later became known as Elgin Watch Company, which was based in Elgin. It was started by the former Chicago mayor Benjamin Raymond, and he wanted to kind of like push out of the city so that they would have space to build a huge factory, again, because they needed not only to build a factory that would make watches, but within that factory, there had to be machines that built the machines that are needed to make the watches.
Right, so you need space.
So like we're starting from zero here.
Right.
Actually sub-zero, because you don't even have the shit to make the shit.
Right.
And so they raised $500,000 between 1864 and 1874, and they built the factory, and it was renamed to Elgin Watch Company in 1874. They employed 2,000 people and made 7,500 watches a week. They had their own gas system, their own fire brigade, their own carpenter shop, and their own generating station. So they didn't even need to rely on anything around it. They made their
in-house.
own little town. Yep.
Yeah. That was the thing back in the day.
Yeah.
Just start your own town up and
basically.
then employ the people.
Unfortunately. Well, it's more like
Slavery. I ain't want to say it, but
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
We were just fresh out of that shit too. So
barely.
they had the blueprint.
Damn.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Let me hit you with this.
In 1900, that's when they began selling wristwatches. So you'll see wristwatches are fairly new. I mean, they're about 100 years old. In 1910, they built the National Observatory, and they used it to measure celestial time, which was based on the Earth's rotation relative to the distance from the stars. Right? So that was the Elgin Watch Company. They put out 54 million watches in their existence, and they became and they output more than all of the other American brands combined at the time.
What were some of the other brands?
We'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
1870, you had the Illinois Watch Company, which was started in Springfield, and they changed the name twice. They had one financial kind of like scare, which was 1873, which most of these companies had the same financial scare, and 2 presidents died. They made 5 million watches, and they made more name grades and private labels than any other brand. So they would make private labels for other resellers and distributors. It was led by John C. Adams. Okay, let's remember that name, John C. Adams. It employed 1,200 people and made 5 million watches from 1870 to 1927. Okay, pretty cool. Next, we have 1875 to 1915. You have the Rockford Watch Company, which was the reason they picked Rockford was because there were 3 railroad lines at the time. They only invested $150,000, and they used tools from a company that had failed recently. The company that failed was called the Cornell Watch Company.
Cornell? Like the university.
Like the university.
Like the dude who started up. I'm just thinking.
But here's the thing. There was a lot of watch producers in the Chicagoland area. We have 4 more that are almost, I don't have too much detail on them because there's not a lot of information. Some of them only lasted a year. 1874 to 1875 was the Freeport Watch Company, which was a company that bought the equipment from the failed company, which was called Mozart Company, which lasted 1 year, which was bought out by Rock Island Company, which also lasted a year.
Damn.
You had Kelly, which only lasted 1895, and Sterling, which was founded by the same guy that founded Kelly, which also only lasted 1 year in 1889.
So he was just bad at what the fuck he was doing.
Bad at watches.
Why would you keep doing this?
You had the Peoria Watch Company, which was built in 1885, and it shut down in 1895.
So that little center of Illinois was just doing big things.
Yeah, it was. They built a factory, but the quality was just never there, so it did not succeed. But back to Cornell, because that name, when I saw that, I kept saying Cornell. I was like, let's hold here for a second. So we've done an episode on, we've done episodes that have mentioned Cornell in the past, but I just, as a refresher, because I'm sure you've listened to them, but just to refresh your memory. In 1850, Northwestern University was founded by John Evans, which was the namesake of Evanston. His sister married a guy named Paul Cornell. John Evans was also one of the investors in a bunch of companies. He was a businessman as well as a founder of Northwestern. In 1861, Paul Cornell came to Chicago and he founded Hyde Park as a resort community. He wanted it to be a space for people to come and vacation, mostly white rich people, from all over the country. So he built it in an area where the train was accessible, which was Illinois Central. In 1862, John C. Adams, who we mentioned earlier, was one of the founders of previously a watch company. He co-founded another company later on, but he was appointed the official timekeeper of railroads centering in Chicago. So he was the guy that told you what time the train was going to show up, and he kept the time for all the trains. He later developed the Adams system of time records, which ensures the accuracy for all watchmakers making watches for, at this time, only railroad people, people that worked in railroads, right?
Yeah.
So we have this big guy, John Adams, who has started a watch company, is now the timekeeper for all the railroads that are happening in Chicago, all of those companies. And as we remember, there's a ton of them that are stationed out of Chicago. 1870, Paul and John, so Paul Cornell and John C. Adams, founded Cornell Watch Company, 2 miles south of Hyde Park in an area called
Greater
Grand Crossing.
Yeah, look, I knew it. it.
They employed 200 workers.
Hold on, let me get my coin.
See, that earns you a coin.
Yeah.
They employed 200 workers and constructed an entirely in-house, unsurpassed railroad pocket watch, which was it was called having perfect escapement, right? So now we're in 1870, okay? The quote that I gave you from 1873 in the beginning was about Cornell Watch Company, right? So they were the best of the best.
Wow.
They developed the first entirely American-made ladies' stem winding pocket watch. Mind you, at this point, we're still doing pocket watches.
Stem winding, so the thing on the side.
Yep.
Okay.
And Henry G. Abbott in 1888 wrote a book or wrote something called The Watch Factories of America, Past and Present in 1888. He said, this was the best watch in finish and originality of design, one of the greatest improvements of the age. Right?
Okay.
So they were making designs that were just surpassing, they were now fashionable, right?
Cornell was doing big things.
Cornell was doing big things. 1873, after the fire and the financial scare of 73, Paul Cornell takes on all of the stock. Mind you, they had just gotten like a really good review in the Tribune. And that article from the Tribune, I'll post it on our Instagram stories. It breaks down what kind of machinery they use to make every single one of their items in the factory. and like it's a very detailed break. It's like a whole page.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Which is
Yeah.
kind of crazy to dedicate a whole page in 1873 to a watch company, right? But they were doing big things. Unfortunately, until 1873. It's almost like that was a little jinx.
Damn. I mean, that had to be hard to like start, stop with the fire, and then start back up again. That had to be tough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, for everybody.
No, it was.
Yeah, damn.
It
That's
was.
because you. I mean, damn. Trying to plus, you got to think about it. The economics of that were horrible because you're trying to sell something that's like not even needed by people right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like during the time when they don't even have shit.
Yeah.
We trying to rebuild our lives. What the hell?
Right.
I'm on luxury.
Right. And the thing is, most of the people that bought watches and at the end of the 19th century were people that worked on the railroads.
Yeah, right.
So like, again, this is not like, but the U.S. eventually becomes the mass manufacturer of wristwatches and pocket watches. But that was like well into the end, like the late 1800s, early 20th century. So
You know what just dawned? We need to do a correlation. Maybe you got it of the railroad and then the Central Time, because like this is all happening.
Do you remember when they decided on Central Time?
What did like 1883?
Is that what year it was? I
think
actually
it was,
can't remember.
I think it was like 1883, 84. Is when the Central Time. So all this shit is happening before that.
Before that. That's why you needed a person that was a timekeeper.
Right. And that's why Chicago had several, there were several stations around the area. I forgot which one was the official place for Chicago. But it wasn't in Chicago. Right. It wasn't. I know Pennsylvania was, someplace in Pennsylvania was a big one. Chicago had one that is a known area. I can't remember it.
Right.
Damn. But like all this time is happening.
Yeah.
You know, why this is.
I mean, there's no doubt that the existence of the railroads and Chicago being a railroad hub resulted in a ton of industries
Watches.
existing.
You brought this up earlier. Yeah.
Right. Because without those railroads, this would have been the wild, wild west.
Man.
You know what I mean? Like we would not have been accessible.
Dude, Chicago.
So like it's truly, I mean, this is true. People say the railroads built Chicago, and my argument in our episode was Chicago built the railroads
Yeah.
all over the country,
Right.
not just in Chicago.
Right, because if it wasn't
Right?
for Chicago doing what we was doing,
it would not have grown as fast as it
Right.
did. But the railroads did build Chicago. I mean, it built its waterways, it built its industries, it made us an industry leader in so many different things. I'll say probably like with watches, we might have not been industry leaders, but we were definitely pioneers,
right?
inventors, and
We gave it a reason.
right. And we were like, we were top players with other manufacturers, and a lot of people that came from Europe, from specifically Swiss and German manufacturers that came to the U.S., settled in Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, like those areas on the East Coast, and so we were in heavy competition.
Right.
And mind you, we were still considered the West. We were like
Right.
the stepchild of all of this, and so people weren't taking us seriously when it comes to a lot of things. But that's why there was so much more kind of focus on quality when things were produced in Chicago, because they wanted to prove that we could be the best of the best.
Right.
And so
That's crazy.
yeah, but I have a little fun twist. We're almost at the end of the story here, but I do have a fun little twist at the end.
Okay.
So 1873, they had a financial scare and they had a fire. And so Paul Cornell took on all of the stock of the company. He bought it all back. In 1874, he moved with 60 employees to San Francisco in efforts to save the company. In 1876, he moved to Berkeley, California. The company was renamed to the California Watch Company. In 1890, he had already moved back to Chicago and started the University of Chicago. Well, he pitched the idea of starting the University of Chicago and kind of like was one of the pioneers in bringing that together. Go listen to the episode of the University of Chicago if you want to learn more about how that got started. But what's really fun is in 2021, a couple learned about the Cornell Watch Company and decided to restart it.
Oh wow!
So the Cornell Watch
it's
Company
back up?
is back up.
Oh wow!
And you can buy their watches. And they have a watch called the 1873.
Bro, let me look. Hold on. Let me see how this bad boy look.
Yeah. And the University of Chicago wrote a whole article on them. And they have different watches that you can
Wow. Hold on. Cornell Watch Company, 1873 watch.
Yep.
1873 watch. Let's see. Let's see what they talking about. Let me see how this thing look. Oh, it's a nice look.
It is. It's
Nice little classic little thing.
They have an 1870s collection that is kind of made to look like you're looking at a pocket watch.
That pocket watch go crazy though.
I know.
The Paul Cornell pocket watch.
And mind you, they don't know we exist. So
And yeah. Whoa, hold on. This is just an auction. Damn, you can't even buy this. I don't even think. I don't think
you can join the wait list. It's sold out, but
damn.
the 1871.
Oh, they want a grip for it.
I don't know what that means.
A lot.
Okay.
Man.
The 1871?
Yeah, 1870.
It's the white one is $11,950. Well, they made it as a luxury brand. It was always a luxury brand. It wasn't always a luxury brand, but they made it as they wanted to bring it back to kind of like rival.
You say rival?
No, because I was gonna say Rolex. Rolex. Rival Rolex.
Okay.
And like those kinds of producers. Ooh. Are you looking at the watches?
Hey, y'all, Google this shit. This shit crazy. Hold on.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at the 1870, the classic enamel.
Yeah. They're nice, right?
These are tough. This is tough.
The internal mechanism is nice. It's a beautiful watch.
The underside of this bad boy is crazy.
Yeah. The micro rotor automatic.
Bro, hey, Cornell Watch Company. If y'all somehow hear this, I want this one. I want the blackface.
They're gonna be like
blackface. I want
for what?
For what, man? I mean, like, just because, please.
Just because, please.
I don't want to start talking reckless. You know how when you like gas black people up, we're flipping the heartbeat.
But they don't know we exist, so yeah, that's all right.
They know I'm black now. So.
Right.
No. This is tough. This is very nice.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, which one is this? I mean, they're unisex, right?
I believe so.
I'm addicted to. I don't know which one I like better.
Anyway, this is not a shopping. This is not QVC. Let's move on.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this shit tough.
You could look at this shit on your own time.
Yeah, Google this shit. That's tough. That's crazy. It's still around.
Really nice. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they brought it back, and
they brought it back 2021.
Damn, yeah. And it's young. So they bought the rights back. You think Cornell? Anybody in that family is probably like, yeah, we need some dollars for this.
I mean,
they probably paid for that shit.
I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they got lawyers.
Yeah. I mean, wow, damn, that's crazy. But so technically, because it was the California Watch Company, is the official line,
right?
The original line is because they changed their name,
right?
And so this is technically new again.
I guess.
This is
I don't know how that works.
I wonder, do they still get all the hit back? I mean, I guess they got the history listed on their page.
Yeah.
They got the history right there.
Yeah.
But like, is it the official history or is it the history of this company as of 2021?
No, it's the official history. It's from the beginning.
Okay. So they I wonder now that's
But here's the thing. Paul Cornell was kind of problematic at
he
so we can't talk about this without mentioning that. When I looked up when I just searched him on the Tribune archival newspaper articles, there's a ton of articles about him being sued for things.
Yeah.
And like so, he's not a great guy, but
Paul Cornell wouldn't want me touching it.
He sure wouldn't. He sure would not.
He wouldn't want me around my wrist. You just put it around your neck. No.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Bruh.
Yep.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I know I'm not.
But yeah, that's the history of. There was ton of watch producers, a lot of like, and mind you, when we get into the 20th century, there's probably even more of like the fashion fashion forward watch production. So
somebody I was talking. I don't know how we got on this, but we were talking about fashion, and there was a correlation of something that started here in Chicago, and I brought up the fact that, that makes sense because, man, I can't even think. But it's been so busy. Yeah.
I love when you bring up things and you just don't.
Yeah. This shit. That's
great.
This shit this was a cul-de-sac. It went nowhere.
You mean cul-de-sac?
Cul-de-sac? No, there's multiple.
Yeah,
it's multiple.
It felt like multiple cul-de-sac.
Just a bunch of nowheres.
Yeah,
a bunch of nothing. All right. Well, I'm done. Even I didn't do shit.
I like
That's
this
good.
back and forth.
Yeah.
Taking over.
Yeah, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good, very interesting. The Cornell Watch Company
Right?
is back.
Yeah.
It's kinda dope.
If you want to support a local business, check out Father Time Antiques. He might have a Cornell watch. Who knows?
Boy, if Father
He
Time,
has a ton of pocket watches.
See, I think I want a pocket watch because
Here's the thing.
I want to get in suits. By
Okay,
the way.
we'll add that to our Saturday adventure next week.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
We'll go
Wait,
to-
ooh, oh, we free Saturday.
Yeah. Well,
This
the
is-
farmer's
it's
market
April.
is at shit. There's no farmer's market next week.
Damn, don't you got your yarn convention or some shit?
I do have Yarn Con.
Where's that? Are you excited about it?
I'm very excited. I have a table and everything.
Do you?
Yeah, I'm part of the Windy City Knitting.
Oh
Festival.
yeah. Where's that at?
I
Mm.
think somewhere in Rosemont.
Yeah, okay,
Actually, I don't know. It might be here.
that's so
McCormick.
crazy. So you gonna be there?
I'm gonna be at
Represent.
the Windy City Knitting Guild
Let's
table.
go.
Come say hi to me if you're there.
How long is it? How long you there for?
I don't know. I don't know how many hours I volunteered for.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I
but
got to pull up. You say yeah.
Yeah.
You driving me? Oh.
Correct.
I almost went into my. Forgot where we was at.
Correct. You are.
All right, okay, bad.
You gotta come through.
Yeah,
Buy some yarn. Buy me some yarn.
yeah. Okay, I'm with that.
Yeah.
Take
if
some
you're-
pictures of you,
if
some
you're,
shit.
Sure.
Okay,
I love get some content because I do run their Instagram. So
yeah. That'd be fun.
yeah.
Yarn.
Okay, well,
all right, cool.
All right.
Bet.
If you
That was a good way to end.
if you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone you love. It is the best way to support us. We love you for it.
Yep.
You don't pay shit for this, so
You sure don't.
do a little hit a couple buttons. It's just a share.
Give us a rating. We ain't had a rating in a long
yeah,
time.
give us a
maybe
rating.
we have.
I actually don't know. I haven't checked in.
Me either. I haven't
months.
checked in
Who
a long
cares?
time.
I care. Give us a rating.
Give us a rating.
And if you did not enjoy this episode, that's all right. Check back next week for a brand new one. April is full. April and May are planned. So check back for some great content.
Okay.
We'll see you then.
Bet.
Peace.
Peace.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode, and we hope you loved it.
And if you could please follow us on social media at 77 Flavors Shy on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
If you have any ideas or deep dives that you'd love us to do, please contact us at media@77flavorsshy. That's the number 77 flavors and shy for Chicago.com.
If you like visuals, please subscribe and follow and watch us on our YouTube channel at the same thing, 77 Flavors Shy. Or search 77 Flavors of Chicago.
If you would like to support us monetarily, go ahead and click that Buzzsprout link in the description of this episode.
And as always, we gonna see you next week. Peace.